Now that you've tried different techniques of using glue and cutting your images out, we can create a fantastic artwork. So when creating fantastic art, it's important for you to think about what fantastic art means to you. What are you trying to convey with your image? Is your artwork about a dream, or your approach to fantastic art as a more general topic? So I think a good way to start is for you to try to do different sketches and to look through magazines to get some ideas. For this specifically, we're going to create a collage. And here I've collected a variety of different images that I cut out of different magazines, such as National Geographic and art magazines and cooking magazines. And those are always really great sources for images. When you're creating a fantastic artwork or anything that's slightly unusual, it's good for you to work with different colors and textures, and also pay attention to strange juxtapositions and working with scale. So if you recall some of the artworks that were covered, artists used a different scale in order to create a sense of fantasy. So here I have different cutouts. And I'm going to be moving them around and trying to come up with an interesting image. What you can also do is have some masking tape or paper clips to attach your images in place, just to give you a better idea of what your image will look like. And also think about what story you're trying to tell. What is your collage about? How is it fantastic? Is it because of the unusual colors or textures, or combination of different images that you wouldn't regularly see in life? Does it remind you of the dream world? Are things out of place or out of proportion? Those are all elements of fantastic artworks. So let's see, I'm gonna combine these images together. As you see, I cut this image very particularly around the seaweed, but then this side is torn, and I like the way this looked torn, and I left it there on purpose. Here I have a base of cardboard, or you can also use thicker paper. I wouldn't recommend using thin paper just because it's not going to allow your glue to properly absorb. And you can also play with different scales. You can work on smaller scale and really pay attention to small cutouts and details, or you can try working on much larger scale and create a bigger artwork. So let's see, I'm gonna have this in here and make this scuba diver look like his foot is coming out of this church window. And I have this blue background cut out here, which I'm going to place on the side. And then I have this red umbrella, and I will make it appear as though he's holding it in his hands. And you know, sometimes it's fun to combine torn edges and cut out edges to give you more variety and play with some texture and surface. And then I still have some space down here, so what I decided to do was find these different landscape images and tear them into pieces. Let's see. And sometimes it can be just texture of flooring, of anything that you find in the magazine, and the texture just goes with your image. So you can transform images that are already existing in magazines and make them into something that's different and that's your own. Let's see, I have also this cutout of glass with ice cream. The reason I cut it out was because I like the color, but I could also attach it in here, kind of for a funky addition, or I could tear it into smaller pieces and shapes and just to fill the background. I have some text here that I don't want to be visible, so I might just cover it up like this. And Just keep playing around with the placement of different cutouts until you find what you need. So look in here, I have two shapes that are overlapping and creating a straight line, and that looks kind of forced, and I don't like that look. So what you want to do in this case is tear this edge and make it look like the two are blending together. So that will give it a more natural appearance. Oops. Or you can do that even further and kind of alter it so it looks even more natural. You can also cut through your images. So let's say I want some of the blue to come through this. I could draw the shapes, and then I could go in with my X-Acto knife or scissors and cut those shapes out. So you begin playing with layers, and it's not just specific images that you attach, but what's underneath them. So now you can see the blue through the cutout. And I could go further and start cutting through some of these images, which could be really interesting. You can have also elements come outside of your collage, such as this. It doesn't have to be contained within your picture plane. So keep that in mind. You can make shapes that are also rolled like this, where you roll them, you put a little bit of glue there, and then you attach it to the surface, such as this. You can also incorporate other mediums into your collage. So for example, here I have black India ink, and I'm going to take my quill and start drawing over my collage. So if you want another element, another medium in there, it doesn't have to be just cutouts, it can be also drawing over your collage. And this can be very extensive and detailed, or it can be very subtle. So you just have to keep in mind that if you incorporate some drawing in your collage, you kind of have to do it throughout. You can't just do it in one area because it will look forced and out of place. So if you decide to add a drawing in one area, maybe just a small detail somewhere else will tie everything together. So I'm mimicking these seaweed structures with my drawing. Yes, when creating fantastic artwork, the guidelines are pretty open, so you can incorporate any kind of medium, even fabric or objects, or you can create a three-dimensional piece. You just have to be careful that you're giving a lot of thought to the materials that you're selecting, and I would recommend avoiding things such as rhinestones or stickers or anything that will make your artwork look like a scrapbook piece rather than an actual artwork. And then once I was happy with my image, all of the areas and gaps were filled. For example, I'm gonna add a little piece in there and make sure that everything lines up. You can start to gradually glue everything together. You can start with your biggest pieces and use rubber cement, and then you can start attaching the smaller pieces. Just pay close attention to your edges as you're cutting everything out, and also make sure that you're not using too much glue. Craftsmanship is very important when creating artwork, so just be aware of all those things and have fun when you're creating your fantastic art.